One of the things that we have to determine before we make a paddock, whether it's for a day, 2 days, or 3 days, or 4 days, is how big to make the paddock size. And what we use is a hoop right here, and this hoop is going to tell us how much dry matter there is per acre. And then once we know how much dry matter there is an acre, and we know how much, in this case, our sheep are eating a day, then we can figure out how many acres to give them for the paddock. This little tool has really been indispensable for us. We use it also to just check our grazing data sheet that we've made. So for instance, if our dry matter consumption of our grazing unit is 1,300 pounds of dry matter a day, and we put them out on like 7/10 of an acre, and we think that, or this hoop tells us that we have, say, 1,800 or 1,900 pounds of dry matter per acre, then those two figures should check. And so we do this a number of times of the grazing season, during the grazing season, just to keep everything in check and all of our numbers agreeing with each other. So to make a hoop estimate, we put the hoop on the ground there, and then we get it kind of situated here so that the grass is all inside of the hoop where it's supposed to be, and outside of the hoop, so we get a pretty good representation of our production here. You can see that this grass it's about 26, 27 inches tall. And then we're gonna just kind of act like we're a grazing lamb, or a bunch of lambs, and we're trying to keep our grass height out of when we exit this paddock at 6 inches. So we're just gonna cut this grass down to 6 inches. While we're doing this, what I usually like to try to do is go down and check and see if the grass is fully recovered. And you might remember that this is one of our daily goals. And there's a really nice, easy way to tell if your grass is fully recovered. All you do is you sort down through here and pick up a stem. One stem will do. As you can see, we have 3 leaves here. A lot of times we might have 4. And what a grass plant, when it grows, what it does is when it makes a new leaf up the top here, it takes the energy and the nutrients from the bottom, the very bottom leaf, and translocates them up. And so this basal leaf or bottom leaf, it turns brown, or it might just have a brown tip on it. But if it's got a brown tip, or if, in this case, almost the whole leaf is brown, that's your clue that this grass plant here has been allowed to fully recover from the last grazing event. It took me a long time to gain this knowledge. For many years, I counted how many leaves we had and just tried to do the length of it. And finally, I was just talking to someone, a grazing buddy of mine. He says, you know, all you have to do is see if that basal leaf is brown. And my jaw just dropped. All these years I've been trying to figure out this myself, and if I had just asked somebody or been in the right workshop or whatever combination it was, I would have learned this a long time ago. But this is basic grazing knowledge. And so if you don't remember anything else but from this video but this, I think that you will have benefited, because this is This is something that's just paramount to a grazing success. Letting the grass recover fully, and this is how you tell. Okay, we're trying to leave 6 inches here. That's about what we got. And then also what we're trying to do is we're trying to leave some here so it gets trampled down. So this is kind of what it's going to look like, we hope, when we take the sheep out of this particular paddock. You're going to have about 6 inches of grass height, and then you're going to have a little more on top of that they trample down. That's pretty critical. If we let them eat, or if they eat further down than this, we know that one of the two things is wrong. Either our estimate is wrong on how much dry matter per an acre we have, or else they're eating more than what we think they are. So what we have here is we've taken our clipping from the hoop, we put it in the bag here. Now we're going to weigh this with this gram scale, and it weighs right at 200 grams. Then what we do is we have this little handy dandy formula that I can't remember all the time, so I just write it on a tag here. But if you take the gram weight and then multiply it by 50, we've got 200 grams. 200 times 50 times the moisture content, or the dry matter percentage of the that's in the grass. And what we do is we've just sent so many samples to the forage labs to gather the nutrient composition of the forages, and in that data they always tell you what the percentage dry matter is, and we're so consistently at 19 to 20% dry matter that it's a pretty good guess that that's what this is. So if we put that in our formula there times 0.19, we're going to get 1,900 pounds of dry matter estimated per acre. So we're going to use that information to determine the size of our daily paddock. This particular set of lambs that we have right now, there's 330 lambs out here, and we know from feeding them in the corrals and the feedlot different parts of the year, times of the year, that they're going to be consuming about 4 pounds of actual dry matter of forage a day. So if you take 330 times 4, that's 1,320 pounds of actual dry matter that they as a grazing unit are going to be consuming a day. Okay, so now we know that our grass yield, our grass production in this particular paddock is approximately 1,900 pounds of dry matter per acre, and we know that our grazing unit is consuming about 1,320 pounds of dry matter a day. And so the question is now is how big of a paddock do we make in order to supply them with 1 day's worth of grass? So we take the 1,320 pounds of dry matter consumption by the unit, and we divide it by the 1,900 pounds of production per acre, and that gives us 0.69 acres, or say roughly 3/4 of an acre is what we need to make that paddock sized to last them for 1 day or 24 hours. And after a while, after you get used to it, you can walk through your grass on the paddock and just eyeball it, and you're kind of used to knowing how much of an area on the far fence there that you swoop down to set your nets at, and with a little bit of practice you don't have to go through all this rigmarole, but it's always good to do it a few times, 3 or 4 times this summer, just to make sure you're on track with what your grazing unit is eating. And that grazing unit, if it's lambs, it's going to be increasing virtually every day or every week, because the lambs are gaining weight, and they're roughly eating 5% of their body weight in terms of dry matter a day. So you've got to update your dry matter intake of your grazing unit every week or so. And you really notice it when they get to 60 pounds weight and they're eating 3 pounds a day instead of when they first get out here at say 10 or 15 pounds where they're virtually eating no grass. That grass really starts getting to be consumed at a rapid